ladies and gentlemen, do I have a show for you. Our guest is going to think today's show is 20 years in the making and try to hijack it off relationships. But the truth is, it's still a human optimization show, and today's show is on sexual health. Now, when you can no longer procreate, your time on this earth is limited. It's also an indication of health dysfunction, whether arterial or vascularly or any other way. And I could have went any route and brought you a PhD to go through and dissect one avenue after another. But I went a different route today. Let's go practical versus theoretical. Today's guest is AVN nominated actor and director with 34 nominations, and XBiz nominated actor and director with 42 nominations. I give you 3-time Male Performer of the Year, Seth Gamble. Step to the microphone, baby boy. So, there is a report out there, that there may have been a company founded in New York City in the early 2000s called Tropical Heat. And you got your break in the adult business with that. And that individual may or may not be in this studio. Andres, you're a bad boy.
That is true.
I see. So tell us a little about your career, your development, where it's gone, and then I'm going to get to function of sexual health.
Okay, where do you want me to start? How far back?
How'd you break into the adult business?
I was working at a gym. And somewhere actually in Florida. It's in more South Broward, I would say, right? It'd be South Broward. Are we keeping things general, or we're going to go?
We're going to keep it as much as possible. There are said individuals in the room who would not like the IRS to come out for them.
Okay.
Okay.
And I was working at a gym. Prior to that, I got in some trouble. I would say teenage years leading into adulthood. I would say the word would be lost. I was a lost person. I had a lot of potential in life. I think I definitely had some gifts when it came to being intelligent, being good in school. I definitely had some form of swag to me or whatever. But I was just green in a lot of ways, you know what I mean? In some ways, when it came to like street life, I wasn't, because I lived a lot of that life. But I understand, like, in a lot of ways I was. And I started working at this gym, and I made quick friends with a guy that's somewhere in this room.
I heard that. And how old were you when you broke into the industry?
I was 18, about to be 19. So.
And during that time, as you broke in, how did you get an opportunity in film?
Well, how I ended up breaking in was as working at the gym. I met someone who was in kind of in the adult entertainment industry, but not so much film,
right.
Or bachelorette parties, kind of the stripping business, and I was joking around, and I said, hey, I'm in pretty good shape, and I think girls would like to see my ass shaped. and I was told that they did that on the weekends, and I thought he was fucking with me, to be frank.
It's a thrill for many, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So continue.
And basically, I'm not fucking with you. And I was like, let's try it out. And then I met another guy that within that group who actually trained MMA, but he also was a pro dancer, kind of understood how to build a routine. So I was hooked up there, kind of learned how to do the gig a little bit. During that process, me and him became friends, started going to like swingers clubs and stuff. I started like hitting up swingers clubs.
Okay.
And so I'd already, was very hypersexual, I loved girls, I loved all that whole thing. So started jumping into that, kind of got me comfortable in that scene. But I remember the first time I ever did a dancing job, I was actually a decoy. And
You tell.
so he's like, you're going to walk in there, because I had no clue what I was doing. So the assumption would be I'd go in there and make a fool out of myself, and these girls would think that they were being pranked. Lo and behold, I walked in there, and I did way better job than expected. So it ended up being, they got more than their money's worth, I would say.
Sometimes you get the performances of the year.
Yeah.
So let's shift gears on that one.
Anyway, I can move forward.
Please.
Let's jump ahead. So I was getting in trouble with some stuff. I had some stuff going on. I got some trouble, and so I had money I needed to pay. I was working at different restaurants and odd jobs, and I stopped working at the gym, and I'd always partied, but I think outside of all that, my friendship with you always try to keep me on the right track. You've been like a brother or father figure to me.
Let me cut you here for the audience so they understand.
Yeah.
20 years ago, I got my start in the personal training industry. And when I did so, I was trying to practice on anybody I could find. We'll always talk about the work it takes, or how'd you get behind a camera, or how come you don't have to call clients to work with clients anymore, or how did this work? And I sat there every day and I practiced a skill. I wanted to get in front of as many people as possible. Even if they weren't paying me, I wanted to sharpen my skills. I wanted to practice. I wanted to see if the practical and the theoretical matched. And I wanted to see if I could align them. So first it started with training, and then this became my first lifestyle client. And when I mean that, I don't mean that just in the sexual function of a lifestyle. What I mean that is life coaching. In other words, where did you evolve to? What did you do next? How did this go? What's the next avenue for you? And where do you go from here? Pick up from there.
So yeah, I'd like to give you your flowers on here, because I don't think I'd be the man that I am today if it wasn't for you. So clarifying, you've been like a father mentor figure to me. I feel like I've been able to navigate through life a lot differently. But anyway, so I was also doing that end of the world, but because of you, I like to party, but you kind of kept me like, yo man, I know you're going to do that, but like you need to stay in the gym, you need to work out. And we fought a lot about it because I was young and not really that way, because you wanted to see me succeed, but you also saw something in me at a young age. Anyway, I digress and go back to my career, but I ended up getting a phone call because the guy who was booking me the dance jobs also had done a few adult films himself and was connected somewhat to that industry. And
hold on, are you able to talk about that? Or because I know you have contracts with different people now, and you were working under a different name.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
I'm not going into detail about anything to that degree, which I'm not concerned about that. So
okay.
If there was a problem, I wouldn't say it.
Okay.
But anyway, so I got brought into a interview to do a site that was basically a guy dressed up in a stripper dance outfit that would do adult films. Mm-hmm. So when I walked in the door, they were like, wow, you're in really great shape, but the suit's built for like a 6'2", 200-pound guy.
Right.
So they were like, will you do a MILF scene? But like, I wasn't really, the only thing I knew about MILF was American Pie. So literally my response, and you remember, I was kind of like I guess like hood kind of like loudmouth guy back then. So I was like, the fuck are you talking about? Like fucking American Pie, like was literally what I said. What do you mean, like American Pie? Like, what am I, fucking Stifler's mom here? Like literally that was how I felt. And they were like, what? You know what I mean? But I didn't know but I wasn't really keen on the vernacular of what niches were.
You were still young.
Yeah, I didn't know. I just didn't watch adult content. Like I didn't grow up watching this stuff. Like this wasn't like, my grandfather left me 20 years of Playboy magazines. That was my introduction to like naked girls in pictures or videos. I really tended more to like the thing in person. I didn't really have that. No one had introduced me to that besides that, right? So I wasn't like an avid watcher or anything like that. So I didn't understand the vernacular. And I was like, whatever, sure. And then that'd be great. But anyway, the casting agent at this place, we started chatting. We kind of like got along, and he asked me if I wanted to hang out that night, go grab a few drinks. Obviously, I was 19, and but
wasn't difficult.
I I had an ID. His name was Ryan.
Right. Miami's a different place for all of you.
Yeah. So we went out, hung out, grabbed drinks, met some girls, whatever, chatted, and had a few. And he was just like, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow?" And back then, you got to realize it's like 2007, 08, whatever. And he's like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" 06, something between 06, 07. I think I'm just off on the time a little bit, but it's around that time. And I said, "Well, nothing." At the time, I totaled my car, which you remember. I totaled my car.
You want to elaborate on the story on the car?
We can in a moment. I'll go back into how I got in. So basically what ends up happening is I went in the office, did the outfit, whatever. I met this guy who was the casting director. We got cool. Mm-hmm. And he's asked me, "You want to grab some drinks?" I was obviously 18, whatever. And but obviously we all, as kids, had IDs at that older age,
Miami's a different place, ladies and gentlemen.
So we ended up, he's like, "Yeah," so we figured it out. We went out, had some drinks, met some girls, whatever. And he asked me the next day if I wanted to do, watch TV at the office. And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I'll pay you a couple $100 to watch TV." And I didn't understand what he meant. So I asked him, again, like, what am I doing for that? He's like, "Well, you're going to be a backup guy. There's a guy that's set to do the scene. And if he can't come to completion or get things going, they'll call you and you'll go and do the scene. But if you don't, you just watch TV and we pay you to sit there." I was like, "I'm just chilling for a couple $100, sure. I watch some TV, I do that for free." Lo and behold, the director comes down that day and sees me and sees the other kid, and he's like, tells me I'm coming with him. And I'm like, "Hey man, like, I'm the backup." He's like, "You're nobody's backup." This is how the guy spoke to me. Okay. And I was like, "Well, thank you, but the guy over here is looking kind of pissed right now."
Right.
And I thought we were about to get it in, because it's one of those situations. So the director's like, "Nah, man." Like, I was like, "Look, I don't want to stir anything up. Like, I appreciate that, but like," he's like, "I'll be right back." He goes upstairs, talks to the big boss, and he's like, "You're coming with me." And the kid basically became the backup. I became the scene.
Right.
I ended up going to the scene. I did everything, completed it without a problem. Also, I guess I fluidly understood some things about being on camera and doing the job that people don't really understand at first, but I understood camera awareness.
That's funny you mentioned that. It's a quick learn for some people.
Yeah, so
others it takes forever.
So camera awareness was something that came to me naturally, and they were just kind of like floored by it. So then I went back to do that MILF scene, and then after that MILF scene, that company signed me to a contract immediately. So I was with them for a few years. I got to like kind of like understand the business, understand the job. But I started understanding that there was also a bigger market in Los Angeles, which I could do bigger feature films. I could do bigger budget things. There's more opportunity, and the industry's bigger, but yet I really will always have a love and appreciation for what I did down here. And I still appreciate that company for giving me my start. But I wanted to do more film things. I really enjoyed the idea of acting. I also enjoyed the idea of like the different ways you can do the job, the different ways because at that time period, like the way you perform, the art of the performance of the job on camera, it meant something. It had like it, and to me it meant something. It still means something. But there's a way that you are going to do the job with each person and each woman you work with, and the chemistry you build. And that's something I got to learn early on, because a lot of the older legendary performers at that time, they basically hazed the shit out of me, but also like they did it because they saw something in me. But yet it wasn't like, a big brother frat boy shit, but some of it was just got out of hand sometimes. But I got to learn the industry really well. And I think because of that, I've put in, I would say, like we say, I would say 10,000 hours, but I probably put in 100,000 by now of what I do for a living.
Okay. To hold off the IRS again, the true or false, said company offered you $5,000 to get somebody else to sign, who may or may not be in this studio today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. When you took this, there were certain things in this business that, or questions. What would you do next? How would you evolve career? Where would you go from there? How'd you get to directing?
Well, basically what happened was I was doing this job for a long time, and there are two directors in the industry. Mainly, I Axel Braun, who was someone that kind of like saw me as a performer very young, and kind of like really saw me. Like he saw me for what I was capable of and what I was worth as an actor and performer. There's also several other ones. There's another director named Bree Mills who also had that same effect, that saw things in me. A lot of directors, but mostly Axel and then Bree as well. But Axel specifically, he was big in the parody craze. So I was playing like Deadpool, and I was doing a lot of the characters, and I was really good at that. I'm really good at mimicking characters and doing those type of things, but also just acting in general. I kind of, as I got to LA, somehow situations arise where I ended up in school for doing acting. I got a kind of like a scholarship to do like acting school, so I kind of learned the craft better.
UC Santa Barbara?
No.
Before that,
it was an acting school. Well, UC Santa Barbara, I just went there and spoke. I've never been to UC Santa Barbara. I've spoke on directing and performing and acting and stuff there, like as a guest.
As a guest, okay.
Yeah.
I saw you was basically consulting.
Yeah. I was just doing. I was a guest. We discussed movies I'd made. I've also been there in the past because I've been actors in other people's movies. They actually do a whole class on adult content.
Before you continue, hey, shout out to Axel, by the way. What a gracious host he was in Beverly Hills a couple years ago. I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But technically, as a younger man, I definitely wouldn't be where I am without him and his guidance at the time. But a company that I'm currently with today, who is Gamma Adult Time, their Axel and Bree had both agreed that I would have been a valuable asset to take on as talent. There were, a lot of things happening in the industry, and we all came to an agreement. And at the time, the company Wicked was, they had taken the company on, and Axel, and then they said, hey, it'd be an opportunity for you to direct. And then, so what ended up happening was I was sitting down at dinner, and Axel was like, I want you to direct your first movie. And I was like, okay, of what? You know what I mean? Right. Was the response. And he was like, of whatever you want. Obviously within reason, but, of your own creativeness, of what you think that would do well for this. So my first movie I directed was called The Red Room, and it was, at the time we didn't have a name for it. It was like, I wanted to take feature type cinematic content, but there's a type of style that you shoot adult content, which is gonzo, right? And gonzo style is more like really like handheld, realistic. You're following the action, and it feels more visceral. But generally speaking, they don't combine the two. So when you shoot cinematic content, they really shoot the intros or the narrative very cinematic, but then the actual action itself is shot very placed. You're doing a lot of tripod shots, very still shots. But I wanted to combine the two because I felt like both elements have such a strong impact on me, because I feel like the gonzo style is very intuitive to, like, as a performer, if you're really great at the gonzo, I feel that, and understanding the dynamic of it and understand how to work with the camera and the angles and the chemistry at the same time, that's truly, in my opinion, what makes you a great actual performer. But then as a narrative, I think that brings in the audience. So I wanted to combine the two. So I made this movie where I was kind of doing visual storylines, bringing in that gonzo element. And my first movie did really well. It got nominated off gate. It sold well. I picked a good crew of talent. I also performed in all the scenes. And then second, he was like, all right, the company at that point was like, we want you to do a narrative movie. We're going to do it as 3 scenes, which mostly narrative movies are 4 scenes. Right? 4 to 5 scenes makes a full movie. So basically you have to put a certain amount of, I'm trying to keep all that language safe for work. So all the love scenes, you got to keep them into like 4 to 5 scenes in one narrative film. So if I do like a 40-page script, there's got to be 4 or 5 times that happens. Okay. Right? Generally.
So let me ask you a question. Yeah. Let me cut you there. As a performer, how do you prepare for that?
Well, it's all about like, I mean, the most simplest way to put it is you do this. It's like, it's staying out of your head. It's like, that is like the aspect of sex in general.
Okay, but what, does that mean you connect with the other performer, or does that mean you separate yourself, or how do you prepare?
Well, I think mentally, like you start
with mentally, then we'll get to physical.
Okay, so mentally, like, as you go to work, I just, to be honest with you, at this point in my life, I've already found the pocket. So there's not like there's no technique anymore to it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Explain what the pocket sound would be.
The
audience isn't going to
understand. The pocket's like a meditative state. Like, you know, it's like, okay, I want to establish chemistry with the girl I'm working with.
Okay.
And I just, it's, you know, me and you talk about this all the time. Like,
right.
No matter who the person is, you got to know your audience. You have to be self-aware. You have to understand who you're working with. I'm also the male in the situation. It's my job to keep the girl safe.
Right.
It's my job to keep the girl comfortable. It's my job to communicate clearly. You know, in the industry, you know, over the past since 2020, we do consent. So we talk about what our do's and our don'ts are.
Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're taking notes.
You know,
Continue.
Consent is like the most important thing in the world. I think people don't really understand how general that is. I think, so mentally, it's keeping all that in mind, but staying calm and understanding. For me personally, it's about how I operate with my character when I'm working in a situation with a girl. But then once we can get that comfort and safety level, the consent's there, and we understand we both can feel safe with each other, then it's understanding how to deliver through those processes. So if you want to just take it on a very basic level and you take out all that aspect of it, which you can't, but meaning like how you get yourself mentally prepared, you can't go in there with any expectation. You know, because I'm not always going to walk in the door and be with Mrs. Right. You know what I mean? I'm not always going to be there and possibly be with a person I have this intense chemistry with. I might work with a person I never met before, but it's somehow being able to establish, I choose to go based on what my partner likes. So like that is something that gets me going. I would say I come with a dominant pleaser mentality. So that's who I am. So I want to be masculine in the dominance of the way that I perform. I'm not really a submissive type of performer, but I enjoy pleasing my partner. So I try to deliver with that tendency, and I feel like majority of the time it's worked well, but it's also like understanding personalities. It's no different than any kind of customer service with people. You're dealing with people on a regular basis. So it's knowing your audience, understanding what makes them comfortable, but also like being comfortable within yourself. And that's difficult because at the end of the day, there's cameras, there's pressure, there's things happening, cameras cut, you know, something might happen that might irritate you. How do I stay in that pocket? And a lot of it's kind of being in a meditative state. So it's really hard to explain, but you know, especially if you're doing it in a way that isn't.
Let me ask this, for people who suffer, and actually you technically are one of those people who suffer from anxiety. How do you separate yourself?
Oh, dude, it's work. I think because, I do suffer from anxiety, but the truth is that younger parts of my career, you know, even as a guy that's worked for doing this now 20 years, almost next year will be 20 years. I had days where I struggled at work. You know, I've had days where, I think there's been less than half a dozen. There was half a dozen days where I had to call the day. I'd be like, not happening. I just want to clarify, as someone who's been successful at this, like you don't get anywhere without having days where you fail or struggle. That's just kind of part of life. But you learn from those experiences.
How do you know you'll bounce back? How do you know you'll separate yourself? What do you do differently to prepare yourself on the following day?
Well, it's belief in self. It's understanding that just because it happened today doesn't mean that's what's going to happen tomorrow. You can't. I have done that before, and I think we all have. But generally, as you understand life and you understand experience. If you look at pattern, for me at least, I look at pattern, it's like, okay, I've hit the ball 100 times and I struck out once. Just because this one thing happens, you can't like grind down on that.
It's funny because I'll often go through the idea of faith with people.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean faith as believe in God. I mean, the idea of faith is that tomorrow is going to be better than.
But you can always like look at it from a logical perspective. It's like faith is always a thing, but like if faith is a problem, because not everybody has it.
I think though, when emotion gets involved, we don't think logically.
No, because we're attaching.
Right, exactly.
Right, where there's attachment. You can't attach to that. You know.
Let me take this a little bit further. What's pre-routine like? What's your sleep like the day before? What's your normal lifestyle like preparing up to?
Well, do you want the perfect day or like what the situation is ideal? Because it's a thing.
I think I want both.
Okay.
No, I think I want both, and I'll go through this why.
So
some days are not ideal. How do you bounce back? How do you handle that? How do you come through? See, here's the thing. I think everybody identifies masculinity with sex.
Okay, let's just
go right through.
Let's be completely honest here. Like, well, obviously I wouldn't be anything else, but let's be transparent. It's a better word. I was a complete drug addict and alcoholic for most of my life up until in 2017. You know what I mean? When I got sober. So nothing was ideal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
And I was like a lab rat.
Okay.
So like my agent would talk about me and another friend of mine being like, I would go do 3 scenes a day on a hangover and like it was nothing, but it was nothing there. You know what I mean? I wasn't here, you know? I could be here because I love sex, but I wasn't here. So there was a level of like, no fucks given, to say the least.
We'll call that self-medicating, ladies.
Yes.
But go ahead.
Let's just be realistic here, right?
Continue.
So when I first got sober, there's a new adjustment to how I had to do life. It's like I'm not comparing or anything like that, but you know, Eminem is a guy who got sober. He's a rapper. He's very public about this.
Right.
And he had to learn how to rap again. When
Right.
he got sober. He talks about that, right? I had to learn how to adjust to entirety of life, performing, everything else, how to be comfortable in those circumstances without the crutch of that, right? So at this point in sobriety, it went from like, okay, now I'm healthy, but my head's louder. So I had to learn how to change that and understand like, okay, meditation came into play, learning how to not attach to all my thoughts, to understand like I'm here to do something, do a specific thing, and knowing that I'm coming in to do my best and understanding the relaxation of it. But I also think with time and self-confidence and self-understanding and self-esteem, when you're being with a woman, you have to have that internal self-confidence, because then you're not going to be nervous of performance. That's the problem I think people don't really generally understand. It's like the more secure you are with who you are and what you're about and what you're capable of, the more you're going to feel calm in the circumstances.
I think that's the safety of it, and I think that was the understanding of the safety of it.
Yeah.
See, and let me say this real quick. There's a gentleman I had on the show. The podcast has not come out yet. He founded an AA clinic, so I'll be remiss if I don't ask you those questions.
Yeah.
Real quick. Tell everybody about the day on I-75, and then I want to hear about the night in Vegas.
Well, the night in Vegas wasn't even the time I got sober. So, I'm thinking, how many nights in Vegas? There's a lot of nights in Vegas. You got to be more specific than that. I could run
the overdose nights in Vegas?
That didn't happen in Vegas.
Didn't happen in Vegas.
No, happened in LA.
No, okay.
But I will run. Let's just run through the accident story.
Okay.
It is the last time I ever danced. To this day, I have never done a professional dance gig since. That has been that was the last day I ever danced. I got booked to do a job in Coral Gables or Kendall. I think it was Kendall. A group of very energetic, beautiful Cuban women had me come over there, and I was young.
Already sounds like trouble.
And
go ahead.
I think it was like 18 of them, and we had a great time. But I made I would say 3 to 4 times the amount of money I usually make. And
we were excited. I can see that.
Yes, and I was so excited that I was deciding to drive at 100-something miles an hour on 75 during a rainstorm. As I was on the phone with you, I was talking to you, if that's okay to say.
Continue.
Because I was excited that I made a good amount of money. And as I was on the phone with you, I lost control of the wheel. The car spun a bunch of times. As I was in that vehicle, I'll never forget, I thought I was dying. I thought I was going to die. Like, there was no like, hey, I was like, all right, man, you did it this time. And I put my hands up. And I was drunk because they were feeding me tequila all night, and I didn't care. Put my hands up, car spun, flipped 13 times over a guardrail. I remember being on the other side of the guardrail the way I was going. It's going the opposite way.